start recording. And I am going to try recording. Obviously, the recordings are same as always. I think it only records my stuff, not your stuff, so don't worry about it. So we're going to come into a comfortable seated position, hips above the knees, starting to close our eyes and maybe start to listen to your breath. Just don't change anything quite yet. Just let your body breathe as it normally is. And then just be an observer for a moment. Just observe the air moving in and the air moving out. Notice where it wants to go right now. Good. And then as you become aware of your breath, the temptation is to take control of your breath. So maybe we'll take a little bit of control, starting to deepen the breath. And exhaling completely through the nose. Softening the gaze. Inhale all the way, letting that belly fill. And exhale. Good. Inhale one more time. We're going to hold at the top for just the count of 3. 3, 2, and 1. Exhale completely, holding the air out of the body at the bottom of the breath for a count of 3, 2, and 1. Inhale. 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, and 1. Next inhale, your arms are going to come up. And just frame your ears, frame your shoulders, and check in with your shoulder and arm positioning here. So your ears should be between your biceps, not too far forward, not too far back. You're just trying to find a neutral position with the spine, the arms, and almost like you're holding the world in your hands above your head. Good. Inhale, reach just a little bit. And exhale, hands come forward into prayer. Good. Inhale, grab the world above you. Almost like you're gathering energy. Exhale, coming down to prayer. Beautiful. One more time, inhale. And exhale, twist over to your right side. Left hand coming to the outside of the right thigh, maybe. Just finding a gentle twist here. Inhale finds a little bit of length. And then as you exhale, twist perhaps a little deeper. Good. Inhale one more time here. Exhale. Good. Inhale comes back to center. And exhale, twist to the second side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. Good. Inhale brings you back up to center, hands to either side. And exhale, hands come together in prayer one more time, closing your eyes. And take a moment here to set the intention for your practice. After all, you made it here. You might as well make it worth it. Beautiful. We'll come forward into tabletop. Hands under shoulders, knees under wrists. And we're just going to start here in a gentle cat-cow. So as you inhale, open your heart forward. Maybe look forward, dropping your belly to the earth. And as you exhale, dome your shoulders, arch your back, like a cat on Halloween. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow one more time. Exhale, cat. And then inhale back to a neutral spine. As you exhale, bring that right leg back, tucking your toes, and open up the back of the right calf. Maybe rocking back and forward a little bit. Good, and as you inhale, pick that right leg up, keeping the leg straight. And in this position, where most of the weight is in your left knee, try and activate the glutes. So the glutes, big muscle between your, your tush, basically. And you want to use the glutes to pull that leg up and back without sacrificing the lower back. So it's really tempting, for example, to dump your belly down here. But in doing so, you put a lot of energy in that lower back, and we just spent some time stretching that out. So let's not be horrible to our lower backs quite yet. Good. And then as you exhale, just bring that right leg forward and tuck your left toes as you transition to the second side. We are trying something a little bit different today with the cameras. So hopefully it sucks less than it did last time. That bar is pretty low. But you'll notice there's a second camera in the top left corner. That's just a different angle, different perspective, so you can see me as I'm doing standing poses without having to futz with the camera. Pick your left leg up, activating the glute and the abdomen to protect your lower back as you activate the glutes on the left side of the body. Good, and try and make sure your hips are pointed to the earth here. It's super tempting to sort of rock over onto the right-hand side. Don't do that. Good. And then exhale down. We're going to open up the wrists. So we're just going to start by taking the left hand and flipping it so that the top of the left hand is on the mat. So you're still in a tabletop position. You just have the top of the left hand on the mat, fingers pointing back. You should get an opening in the top of the left wrist. Top of the left forearm. Just trying to send a little love to the parts of our body that do all the work, the typing and the whatnot. Switch hands, so bring the left hand palm to the earth, and then the top of the right hand so you can open up the second side. Good. And then inhale brings that palm back to the earth. And we're going to flip our hands so that our fingers are pointing back to the knees, palms still on the earth. So you're going to just turn your hands so that your fingers are pointing back to your knees. And now you should feel a really lovely opening in the bottom of the wrists, bottom of the forearms. And if you want more, you can always come up onto your toes, but this is a little bit harder, not really the core part of what you're trying to open right now. Beautiful. And then inhale, come back to center. Bring your knees wide as you sit back into child's pose. Child's pose is an active pose. This is not a resting pose. It's just an active pose in the muscles that you work every day. Good. And then as you inhale, you're going to walk your arms over to the right side of your mat. Maybe grab your right wrist with your left hand to get a gentle side body opening. And then as you inhale, come back to center and walk over to the left to open up the second side. Good. Inhale brings you back to center. And we're going to push up into a tabletop position. Transition through my favorite core exercise, which is just picking your knees up off the ground, maybe 3 or 4 inches off the ground. It's always good to wake up the core if this is safe to do so. And then as you exhale, push your hips up and back and come into a downward facing dog. Good, and we're just going to take a moment here. So this can be hard on the wrists, but I want you, if this hurts your wrist, I want you to imagine grabbing the earth with your fingers. So in this position, you really do want to move the weight into the knuckles of the hand instead of the wrist. So you're actively clawing the earth. That helps a lot with sort of remembering how to put weight into your hands without injuring the carpal tunnel, for example. Good. Inhale brings that left foot up and back. And exhale brings it forward between your hands. Bring your right knee to the earth as you come into Anjaneyasana, or low crescent lunge. Get a little bit of an opening in that psoas muscle. Another one of these muscles that just loves to get tight when you're sitting at a desk all day if you forgot to stand up, like I did. Good. And then as you exhale, you're going to straighten that left foot, fold over the front leg, and come into half splits. And in half splits, this is a lovely time to just check in with your body and see how it's doing. So what I like to do here is I just like to rotate my feet clockwise or counterclockwise. This is really revealing because it shows you what part of your body, part of your hamstrings, because there are 3 or 4 muscles back there, really needs your attention today. There are 3 hamstring muscles on each side, I think, I hope. And if I'm wrong, well, you can always send me a Venmo request for your money back. Good. Inhale comes to Anjaneyasana for one inhale. And then exhale, plant the palms on either side of your left foot. And we're just going to come back into a downward facing dog. Now, if you're feeling energetic, you can always flow through a chaturanga, up dog, and down dog. If you've taken my classes before, you know that I don't like to cue these because, some days I'm just not in the mood to do them myself, but I do try to make sure that we leave space for those of you that do. Good. And on the next inhale, you're going to raise your right leg up and back. And exhale, right leg forward, coming into Anjaneyasana, or low crescent lunge on the second side. And again, you should feel an opening across the front of the left hip in this pose. Your psoas muscle is the muscle that we're working to stretch here. You activate it by, almost like you're zipping up a wetsuit. And make sure that core is active and engaged. Protect your lower back here. And the top of your left foot is pushing into the earth. That's really going to help you get a little bit deeper into this pose. Good. And then as you exhale, straighten that right leg, coming into forward half splits on the second side. And again, just rotate that foot clockwise or counterclockwise and see what parts of your leg are tight today. For me, it's the inner hamstrings. So I find that bringing the toes just a little bit in helps me get a little bit more awareness into the part of my body that's tight and, just needs a little bit more breath in it today. Good. One more deep inhale. And as you exhale, come forward into a low crescent lunge for one breath in. And then exhale, plant your palms and make your way back to downward facing dog. Good. On the inhale, you're going to raise your left foot up and back. The chair is in my way. Get out of there. And then exhale brings that left foot forward, again, between your palms, but this time you're going to rotate your right heel so the right heel comes to the earth. We're going to open up into a warrior 2. So a warrior 2, your left knee is pointing the same direction as your toes. Your right heel is on the earth, arms coming out to either side. And then in this pose, we're going to be here for a little bit longer than usual. So what I want you to do is use that back leg, use the outside edge of your back leg to grip the earth, and maybe come just a little bit deeper onto the left side. Good. And maybe you come a little deeper. Whew. And maybe you go a little deeper, or maybe you say, Yon, this is enough. That's all I need today. And as we're here, just checking with those shoulders, make sure they're down and back. Plenty of space between your ear and your shoulders. And then as you inhale, flip the left palm, and without changing the position of your legs, come into a peaceful warrior. Peaceful warrior, left hand comes back, so a side body stretch. Those legs, probably loving you right now. Good. And then as you exhale, we're going to come into a extended side angle pose. So in an extended side angle, you're going to bring your left elbow to your left knee and use the connective energy between those two joints to open your heart up to the sky. Good. And then I suppose we should come out of this. So as you inhale, come back to a warrior two. And remember, your legs haven't changed their shape yet. I hope they haven't. This is a really good workout. And as you inhale, we're just going to straighten that left leg and come into triangle pose. So triangle pose, your hips haven't changed shape at all. Your legs haven't left the earth. Your left hand is going to come out as far forward as you can, almost like your best friend wants to bring you over to show you something amazing. And then when you've come as far forward as you can without falling, then you can bring your left hand to the inside of your left leg or maybe to the outside and open your right arm to the sky. Good, and in this pose, you really want to imagine that you're leaning your back against a brick wall or some other stable foundation. That's really going to be where your stability comes from in this lovely pose. Good, and then on the next inhale, bend that left knee, come into warrior two. And exhale, windmill your arms to the ground and make your way back to downward facing dog. And then afterwards, just enjoy this downward facing dog. Maybe you come into a child's pose here. But whatever you do, check in with those shoulders to make sure that the shoulders are down and back. It's easy in this downward facing dog position for those shoulders to creep up to the ears, but you're going to lose a lot of your stability if you allow those gossips to meet. Good. And then inhale brings that right leg up and back. And exhale, right leg forward in between the hands. Pivot the left heel to the earth and come on up to warrior two on the second side. And in this lovely warrior two, I'll do the same thing as before. So your left leg, your outside edge of your left leg is really going to grip the earth. And in doing so, this allows that right leg to bend a little bit further. And then a little bit further. Good. I had a friend of mine the other day. We were talking about working out, and he was describing this incredible, powerful workout he was doing. And I was telling him how hard yoga was. And he was like, oh, come on, you're just standing there, dude. You're just not even doing anything. So if you ever have a friend who gives you grief about just standing there and how standing there just isn't that hard, maybe give them a little bit of warrior two. Now come just a little bit deeper and deeper. Good. Good. Did I forget my count? Nope. Flip the right hand up and open up without changing the shape of your legs. Open up into a peaceful warrior. Getting that side bend in the right side of the body. While that hamstring is working so hard on the right leg. Oh, it's going to get its vacation soon enough. And as you exhale, come forward into extended side angle pose. Good. Connective energy between the elbow and the knee gives you everything you need to open your heart to the sky. Beautiful. And then as you inhale, you're going to bring that left arm back, coming into a warrior two. And then we'll straighten the right leg. Whew, that feels good. And come into triangle pose on the second side. Again, coming as far forward as you can before finally letting that right arm drop to the leg, maybe the inside or the outside to a block, and opening your heart to the sky, left arm up. Beautiful. Next inhale, bends that right knee, coming into a warrior two. We were just here. And then as you exhale, windmill the arms to the ground and making your way back to downward facing dog, however you choose. Good. Now we're going to raise that left leg up and back one more time. Bend the knee and open the legs so that your pelvis points to the left. And while you're here, try and bring that left knee to the sky. Notice how that works those outside hips super hard. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your left knee forward. We're coming into pigeon. So if pigeon is not in your practice or you're just not feeling pigeon today, well, you can always come onto your back and put the left ankle onto your right leg and come into a reclined figure four, which I'll demonstrate in just a moment. But if you're in pigeon, your right leg is back, straight back, left leg is bent, and you're actively engaging the left ankle to protect the left knee. And then if you're here, you can come forward into a reclined pigeon, or a sleeping pigeon as this is called, arms extended forward. And if you're in a reclined figure four, you're on your back, right knee under left ankle, reaching through the window of your arms to grab your knee. Just looking to get into that hip a little bit deeper and deeper. Good. Now, if you're in pigeon and you want something a little bit more, we'll come back into a pigeon. You're going to bend the right leg. So your right leg is back. And you're just going to bend the right leg, try and bring that heel to your bum. And notice how that activates a different part of the hamstrings. Good. And if you're doing a reclined pigeon, you're welcome to stay there. If you're in reclined figure four, stay there. And when you're ready, you're just going to bring that right leg back and down, tucking the toes, placing the palms, and we're going to step back into downward facing dog so that we can transition into the second side. If you're doing a reclined figure four, just stay on your back. We'll be there momentarily. Inhale brings that right leg up and back, opening the hips to the right side, and again, trying to bring that knee up to the sky. Good, and then as you exhale, bring the right knee to your right wrist and settling into pigeon on the second side. Camera's totally busted, huh? All right, well, best laid plans of mice and men. Good, and if you're in pigeon, you can settle into a sleeping pigeon by just bringing your arms forward, folding over that right shin bone. And if you're looking for something a little bit more, you can go back onto your hands and just try and bend that left knee, trying to bring the left heel to your bum. And as you do so, it's super important to check in with your lower back, so make sure that that core is active and engaged. The core is going to protect your lower back because it's really tempting, especially as you start to go towards like Raja, Eka, whatever it's called, king pigeon pose, where you bring the hands up and arch your back like this, or like way further than this, but I'm not that flexible. It's super important here to protect the lower back by activating your core. Good, and then exhale, lower the left foot if you have it raised. Plant your palms, and make your way back to downward facing dog for just a moment before coming forward onto your knees and sitting back onto your heels. Good. Take a moment here, eyes closed, checking in with the body. And notice what feels different. Good. So we're going to come to a standing position at the front of the mat. So planting your palms, maybe you push up into a handstand, or if you're a mere mortal like myself, you can just tuck your toes and walk forward to the front of the mat and come into a forward fold. So in a forward fold, there are two variations you can always do. So I really like having my feet just about 6 inches apart. It gives me a little bit of space for my beer belly to hang between my legs. Good. And as you inhale, reverse swan dive, hands to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer in front of you. Good. So we're going to come into chair pose. So I do like to bring the knees together, knees touch, toes touch. And as you sit back into chair, your arms will come up above you. And the goal here is to, you almost want to face forward with your chest. So a lot of people like to come forward, fold, and actually really want to open your heart forward. Let your heart shine forward, almost like you're shooting a love beam to the world around you, if that's your thing. Care Bear stare or what have you. Good. And then from here, you're actually going to try and come a little bit deeper. We're going to come into a toe stand, which is just a position where if you keep going down in chair until your toes are the only thing touching the earth. Good. Arms still up. Try and keep your balance if you can. I have a hard time with this because my balance sucks. Good. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring your hands down and push up with your hips so that you end up back in a forward face, a forward fold. Good. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. And exhale, hands back down to prayer. Beautiful. On the inhale, so we're going to do a little bit of glute work here. So in a standing position, you're going to shift all the weight into the left leg so that your right foot comes just an inch off the ground. And then this is super hard to cue, so we'll see if I get it right. Your left leg and your right leg are both active and engaged. And you want to push your right heel back by using your glutes and your hamstrings. So you don't want to fold forward, so it's really tempting to go like this. This is not what you want to do. You really want to keep that back up and straight, then try and bring that right leg back. And in doing so, you activate all the hamstring, the glutes, and we'll be here for 3, for 2, and for 1. Now don't set the right leg down. Instead, you're going to swing the right leg all the way forward. And you can do this with a bent knee or a straight leg. And we're just going to keep that right leg up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set it down. Ooh, maybe shake it out a little if that feels good. And when you're ready, we're going to transition to the second side. So again, you're shifting your weight onto your right leg, And that left leg comes just off the ground, and you really want to just bring it back, activating the glutes and the hamstrings, and opening. You're really opening that same psoas muscle that you did earlier, but you're doing so by actively engaging the glutes and the hamstrings. Don't try and fall over like I just did. And breathe into the sensation. All right, now without letting the left leg come to the ground, swing it forward and up, trying to keep a straight leg if possible, and keep your balance. Ooh, it is windy outside. And we'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set it down. Beautiful. So we're going to come into Malasana. So for Malasana, I like to bring my feet just under my shoulders. It's really comfortable to bring the toes out so they point out a little bit. It helps make this a little bit easier. Ultimately, you want your toes and feet parallel. And we're just going to sit back into a yogic squat or Malasana. And you want to try and keep a flat back here. So it's super tempting to come forward. All right, it helps with your balance if you're all the way forward. But we want, if possible, to flatten the back. You're going to use the connection between your biceps, your triceps, and your knees. That should be active and engaged, pushing against each other, and that should give you some energy to flatten out the back. Nicely done. And just breathe into this for a moment. Good. For a Malasana twist, you're going to bring the right shoulder under the right knee and bring the right arm out, and then open the left arm to the sky. So this is a fun pose, especially if you know how to do birds of paradise. This is a great transition to come all the way up from a Malasana twist. We're not going to do that today. Instead, we're going to come back to a Malasana and exhale to the second side. So this time dropping your left shoulder under your left knee, bringing the left arm out and opening the heart to the side. Beautiful. And exhale brings you back to a Malasana. Hands together in prayer, flatten that back. And we're ultimately going to end up in a standing position at the front of the mat. But if you want to do crow, you can always do crow, transition to be like crow, up dog, down dog, and then walk forward or hop, step, or jump. But for us mere mortals, we're just going to bring our hands to the earth and raise our hips to the sky as we come into a forward fold. And for, I think this is Ekapada, no, Padahustasana, maybe. I don't remember my pose names. So you're just going to be in a forward fold, hands on the earth if possible. And then for a slightly deeper pose, we're first going to come up to a flat back on the inhale. And exhale, forward fold, taking your peace fingers and wrapping them around your big toe if you can reach them. Let the head hang heavy. Maybe bending your arms to pull yourself further down. Good. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Keeping your hands in the sky. Trying to open your heart up as you find a gentle back bend here. Now, if you're back bending from this position, remember your core has to be engaged. This has to protect your lower back. Otherwise, you're just going to be dumping energy into the lower back, which already does too much for us. It's the person that carries the team. And exhale, hands forward, coming into standing pose. And then letting your hands come out to the sides for Tadasana. Beautifully done. So we're going to bring the right leg back, come into a wide-legged standing pose. You're going to open up the shoulders just a little bit. So in a wide-legged pose, your toes should be pointed slightly inward, pigeon-toeing your toes. And we are going to start by just taking the arms, maybe grasping opposite elbows or opposite forearms. Or if you're ready for it, you can interlace your hands between each other. On the inhale, open your heart to the sky. And then as you exhale, forward fold. Maybe letting those hands come above your head or even further. Good. And then without letting go of your hands, use the strength of your arms to pull you all the way up into a standing pose. And then release the arms. Well done. Next, we're going to bring the heels in just a little bit. Come into a horse stance, so you're going to bend your knees, hands on the tops of your legs, and just notice how the weight shifts around in your body. So if your arms are straight, pushing down on your legs, you actually might feel a bit of an opening in your lower back here as your arms do all the lifting, so to speak. And as you're here, just make sure that those shoulders stay back and down. They do love to creep up to the ears when you're not paying attention to them. Now we're going to bring the right hand, bring the fingers down so the fingers are going down towards the calf, and just dip your right shoulder to the earth. Good. Inhale back to center. And exhale to the second side. Inhale back to center. Good. And then inhale up to star pose, so straightening the legs but keeping the toes as they are. And then exhale into goddess pose. So coming almost like you were into horse, but this time the hands stay up. That's a powerful pose here. Probably one of my favorites. And you can rock back and forth. Ooh, maybe your hamstrings are reminding you of all the work they've already done today, saying, hey, enough is enough. And you can say enough is enough. But only when you've gotten to enough. Beautiful. Inhale, star pose one more time. And exhale, hands in front of you in a prayer as you step forward to the front of the mat. Beautiful. Good. Now from here, we're going to make our way into boat pose. So boat pose is a seated position. And it is fun to consider how you might get there, perhaps by coming through chair all the way down until your bum reaches the earth. Oh, maybe you fall. So obviously, if you are pregnant, you don't want to do boat. So what you want to do is just keep your feet on the earth, keep your hands behind you, and maybe windshield wiper your legs. If you're in boat, you're going to bring your knees together and off the mat. Remember to actively engage, almost like you're squeezing a block between your knees as you straighten the legs and open your heart to the sky. Good. And then as you exhale, maybe come down to a low boat pose. Inhale, high boat. Exhale, low boat. Inhale, high boat. And exhale all the way down, lying flat on your back. Nicely done. All right. For bridge pose, you're going to bring your feet to the earth and try and see if you can touch your toes, touch your heels with your fingers. And from here, you're going to almost like you're unraveling your spine from the mat. Just tuck your pelvis and slowly, slowly roll your spine up, keeping everything active and engaged until you're almost to the top of your shoulders. If you're carrying the weight in your neck, try and use your shoulders more. Good, and then as you exhale, slowly unravel your spine to the earth. And bring your feet wide and knock your knees together. And we'll just rest here for a moment. This is a wonderful counterpose to some of the hip stuff that we did today. Like Balasana, great hip opener. Good, and then we're gonna lay our legs flat and come to a staff pose, a seated position. Legs straight. And for Janu Sirsasana, you're going to bring your right leg in so that the right leg's on the inside of the left thigh. Inhale, hands to the sky. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring your left elbow to the inside of your left leg. Ultimately, that's where you're going. What you want to do is you're opening the right side body and twisting. Now, it's super important here not to collapse into the left side, so if you find yourself collapsing, try and straighten out the torso and open from the right side without collapsing to the left side of the body. And you'll know you're collapsing if your rib cage and your hip bones come together, because that's not a very pleasant experience. Good. Inhale up. Twist over your left foot, and exhale, forward fold over the left foot. And then inhale back up, and switch your legs, bringing the right leg out to the side, and the left foot in to meet the right thigh. And again, you're going to bring your arms up on the inhale. And as you exhale, without compromising the right side body, you're going to try and bring your left arm up and over. So if you find that you're collapsing into the left side body, the right side body, to get your hand to your foot, well, this is not a photo session. Try to do a pose that's more correct for your body, rather than what looks good on the cover of Yoga Journal. Good. Inhale up to center. Twist over the right leg, and as you exhale, forward fold over the right leg. Good. Inhale up to center. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your feet together into Baraku, cobbler's pose. And I'm just not remembering my poses today. That's okay. This is still a judgment-free class last I checked. So cobbler's pose, feet together, comfortable distance in front of you. And what you want to do, so we're going to be here for a few moments. So you want to push the outside edges of your feet together. And in doing so, you should find that your legs might open a little bit further. This is super important that you move your legs open, not by pushing on the knees, but instead by pushing through the feet, because otherwise you risk damaging your knee, and knee injuries suck. Good. And then with a flat back, come forward into a gentle forward fold. Good. And then as you inhale, we'll come back up to a seated position. We're going to do one more thing that I really like to do. So we're going to bring our legs out to the sides for a wide-legged seated position. And when you're here, next thing you do, put your hands on the ground on either side of your hips, and then pick yourself up and pull that bum back up just a little bit. And in doing so, you're basically forcing your body to come up onto the sits bones. So the sits bones are the front two parts of the triangle. Your tailbone is the third part of the triangle. Hands forward on the mat. On the inhale, you're going to raise your left leg up without bending, doming your back. We'll be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5, 1 1/3, and set it down. Nicely done. I have a small child at home, so I have to keep it entertaining somehow. Good. And then on the next inhale, raise that right leg up without moving backwards for 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set it down. Now from here, you're just going to roll onto your back slowly, keeping your heels on the earth, vertebra by vertebra, as you unroll your spine onto the earth. Let your hands lay open. We're not coming into corpse pose quite yet. Instead, what we're going to do is bring our legs up and come into happy baby. Normally, I skip past happy baby as the last pose. We're going to be here for a little bit, so just get comfortable. So you're going to, from keeping your lower back on the earth, bring your knees in and wide, and then reach through the window of your legs to grab the outside edge of your heels, of your feet. Good. And then again, without letting that lower back come off the ground, maybe try and get your neck on the ground, your cervical spine, and use the connective energy between your feet and your hands to maybe come to a flat back position. Good. And from here, you can try and straighten one leg. Maybe you straighten your left leg first, and then switch to your right leg. Maybe you try both. But again, trying to keep that lower back on the ground. And as you exhale, bring your feet to the earth and hands to either side of your hips. Good. We're going to come into a twist, a reclined twist. So you're going to lay your right leg straight and then bring your left knee into your body. Good. And then with your right, lay your left arm out long like a T. And then maybe use the right arm to gently guide the left knee over to the right. It's so important not to put any energy into the knee, though. Your knee, your precious knee, does not like energy from this direction. It messes with your knee joints. Doesn't really have a lot of muscle to protect it. And so it just gets unhappy and breaks instead. Seems like a terrible thing to do, but hey, it's the only body we've got. And as you lay in this gentle twist, maybe look over your left side with a soft-eyed gaze. And from here, just imagine your left hip is being pulled to the front of your mat. So moving away from your shoulders. And in order to stimulate that sensation, you're going to take your right hand and bring it to your left hip. And just give it a little bit of a push, trying to open up the left side body a little bit more. This should feel pretty intense. Good. Inhale brings your left knee up to center. Maybe give it one hug and set it down. On the next inhale, you're going to raise your right knee to your chest. Give it a hug. And then again, with control, you're going to bring that right arm out to the side to a T as your left hand gently helps guide your right knee to the left side body, to the left side of the mat. Good, and maybe you bring that left hand to the right hip. Just find a way to get a little bit of an opening sensation as you push that right hip away from you with the left hand. Good, inhale brings you back to center. Maybe you give that right leg one more hug. And then eventually lay it down. We have time for one more pose. So if shoulder stand or plow or some other pose is calling to you, feel free to take that now. I'm just going to enjoy a longer Shavasana, but I will leave you in a 3-minute Shavasana after this pose. So feel free to do whatever your body is calling to you right now. Maybe you just stretch your arms overhead. Maybe you come back into boat, or plow, or shoulder stand. And if you're doing one side, come to the other. And when you're ready, come all the way down onto your back. And once you're here, you're just going to squeeze every muscle of your body, activate it as much and as hard as you can. 3, 2, 1, and relax completely. And just let go of anything that you were holding on to for the last hour. Just let go of your breath. Just let go of any sensation holding you to this world, to this earth, as you enter a lovely Shavasana pose. 3 minutes goes by so quickly when you're in some other space. So as you re-enter this world, just come back slowly. Come back slowly into this place, into this space, into this body, and bring something with you. Bring love and peace, joy and beauty. Try to make this world a little better than it is today. You can bring your awareness into your fingers and your toes, your wrists, your ankles, elbows, and knees, integrating through the hips and the shoulders and the neck as you gently roll over to one side, using your arm as a pillow. And as you exhale, maybe using your arm strength to push up into a seated position with your eyes closed, hands in front of you in prayer. It is such a joy to teach with you today. I hope you enjoy this practice as much as I enjoyed giving it to you. Namaste.